What's going on? Look out the window. Disaster everywhere. War, economic problems, famine, everything. Oh,
Yeah.
so I'm sure more things can go wrong, but we got enough right now going wrong. What I have tried to explain to people is, 2008, we had a problem because of too much debt, economic problem because of too much debt. Well, since then, the debt has skyrocketed all over the world. So the point I've tried to explain to people is the next time we have an economic problem, it's going to be very, very bad because there's so much debt. 2008 was bad because of debt. Oh my gosh, since 2008, the debt everywhere, even China has skyrocketed now. So the next time we have a problem, it's going to be very bad. We see signs all over the world that it's happening. But well, the war, of course, has distorted things a bit. My suspicion, and it's not I don't know, but once the war ends, and it will end someday, there'll be a big rally. Everybody will think things are okay now. We have a big rally, but that will be the last rally, and then we'll slide further and further into recession and bear markets because the debt is very, very, very high now. Interest rates will go higher, inflation will go higher. It will not be fun. Well, I have learned not to pay too much attention to most central banks. Most central banks have no clue what they're talking about or what they're doing. India had a good central bank a few years ago. The US had a good central bank 30, 40 years ago. But, we haven't had many good central bankers in history. And so I don't pay too much attention to them. Well, the first thing is you should only invest in what you yourself know a lot about. If you ask me what to do, you're already on the wrong foot. You should
Mm.
only be investing in things that you know a lot about,
Hmm.
because then when things go wrong, you know what to do. If you listen to somebody else and things start going wrong, you don't know what to do. You don't know why you're there in the first place. So my very, very strong insistence for everybody is don't listen to me, don't listen to anybody, just stay with what you know, and then you'll come through okay. Yeah, I bought shares in Uzbekistan recently, but most people couldn't tell you where Uzbekistan is. So, but I do, it's going to be less susceptible than many other markets, partly because nobody has invested there yet. It's undeveloped. If you can find places like that, sure. Agriculture is another area that's been a disaster for a long time. So I'm less pessimistic about agriculture. I'm less pessimistic about Uzbekistan. There are things where one can find opportunities, but just be careful and stay with what you know. Normally, if you invest in something, most people should invest in an index, because many studies show that indexes outperform most active investors, no matter what the field. So if you want to invest in commodities, you might consider an index. But as I look around the world, shares have been in bubbles and bubbles forming. That's been correcting recently. Bonds are certainly in a bubble. Bonds have never been this expensive in the history of the world. Property in many countries is a bubble. I mean, South Korea, New Zealand, many places, property is a bubble. The only asset class I know that's not a bubble, that is not too expensive, are commodities. I mean, silver's down 60% from its all-time high. Sugar's down 60% from its all-time high. Most commodities are still cheap on a historic basis. And that's the only asset class I know where things are still cheap. But if you don't know about commodities, don't invest in commodities. If you don't know what cotton is, don't invest in cotton. And if you do, you should consider an index like people should for nearly all assets. Well, I came up with some indexes 2 or 3 decades ago because I had to have a place to invest my own money. And these indexes are listed on the New York Stock Exchange. They have done better than the other indexes. So for once, I did something right. But they're, RJA, RJI, RJN, RJZ. I mean, they're all listed on the New York Stock Exchange for agriculture, metals, energy. They're indexes. And as I say, maybe it was just an accident, but so far, these indexes have outperformed the other commodity indexes. There's always innovation and technological innovation. There has been since the beginning of time. And of course, there will be. I am not technologically knowledgeable. I don't know a lot about technology. So I have no idea which ones will come out ahead. But if you do, you should buy them if they're down and if the price is right. As I say, I would rather invest in the next 10 years in something like silver or agriculture or something like that, because these assets are down from their all-time highs. As I said, silver's down 60% from its all-time high. There's not many assets you can say that about.